What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Cult of Recreationalism podcast. I'm your host, Nathan Morris, and today we are here with Jason Khalipa. Welcome, Jason.
What's up, man? I like that. I like that intro music, kind of setting the tone. I feel like I'm at a. I don't know where I'm exactly at, but I'm not where I'm at right now. So it's all good. I love it. You transfer me to a new world. I'm ready to rock.
We're trying to make it fun. The joke was like, maybe we could find some like fun elevator music, and I think I found it. So that's what we went with.
No, you did, dude. You just transported me. I jumped in an elevator and now I'm in a whole new place and we're having a great conversation.
Awesome. Well, cool. Let me do, I wrote up a little quick intro, Jason, and at the end, add anything that I missed. So
Perfect.
So guys, today on the show, we have Jason Khalipa. Jason is a father, a businessman, 2008 fittest man on earth. He's a multi-time podium finisher at the CrossFit Games. Also just a figurehead in the CrossFit space. He is a brown belt in BJJ. He runs Train Hard and NC Fit. He's also the host of Coffee with Khalipa and the Jason Khalipa podcast.
Dude, nailed it. I love it.
Did I miss anything?
No, man. I mean, no. I think that's great.
Cool. Well, yeah. And so, Jason, I don't know if I mentioned it beforehand. I also own a CrossFit affiliate.
Okay, nice. Yeah.
I live in Denver, and so I'm here, but I've known the Bubs guys for a long time, and so we just kind of started this, and it's been taken off. The podcast launch is the beginning of April, so you're going to be like one of like the first couple episodes that we end up putting up. So,
dude, I love that. I'm rocking my Bubs Yeti, and if you guys can see it, if you're watching this, it says "Die young, as late as possible." And it's so funny because I use this mug all the time, and people will look at it and they'll be like, "Die young." Like they'll see "die young," you're like, "Oh shit!" They get like triggered, and then like, "Wait, as late as possible." It's like, I get it. And so I think it's a great slogan, man. It's really what I believe in too. It's like you got to keep your fitness up so that you're as young, you stay as young as possible, as long as possible.
Yeah, exactly. That's actually, this is my first year in the like Masters division. The Open is going on right now, just for people listening, time and space. But this is my first time in the Masters, and my fitness goals have changed a lot over the last few years. And now it's like, that is like I just want to be fit. I want to be able to pick up my kids when I'm 60. That's the joke I always make. But yeah, it's just, that's kind of where I'm at.
The way things evolve. Like, how old are your kids?
I don't have kids. But when I turn 60, I want to be able to pick them up.
Yeah. So here I am. I'm 38, and I have a almost 13-year-old and almost 10-year-old. And so, yeah, man, I want to be 60 and picking them up and then throwing around, I don't know if at that point they'll be grandkids, but I want to be the most jacked, fit grandpa. I want to be the most capable husband and dad I could be every single day. That's really important to me. And it's just evolved, like when I first got into CrossFit, it's like, hey, how do I become the fittest person on earth? How do I win these competitions? And as you get older, you realize like those goals weren't bad. They were just different than where you're at today. Like there's seasons in your life. And my season of life right now is more as like showing up as a husband, as a father, and as a community member to try and contribute.
Yeah. I thought it was really cool because as I was doing some research leading up to this, like I went to your Instagram page and like you've got them working out in the garage with you, both CrossFit and BJJ, giving them both aspects.
Yeah, especially like with my son, my daughter, definitely for a long time, we did a lot of that. She's currently going through some, health issues. So she's not working with me right now, but my son is. And we grapple all the time. We get after it. And then obviously we really encourage traditional sports. I just think that grappling, especially for young men, is really important because I think it teaches you self-confidence. I think it teaches you composure. And I think that those things are really important, especially as you get older as a young man. So you never become someone who has to bully others or has to prove their worth. Like, you know who you are. You're self-confident, and you could also stand up for yourself and others around you if you needed to.
Yeah. Did you have a background like before CrossFit with any type of martial arts, or did this come after?
So I started off at the traditional gym when I was 15. I started working at the front desk, and then probably around, 18, 19, I stopped playing football. Some opportunities just kind of ended for me. And so I found bodybuilding. And then I was moderately, I was interested. I heard about CrossFit, but at the time I was doing Muay Thai. So I got into bodybuilding and Muay Thai is, Thai kickboxing. So I was really interested in that. And then I found CrossFit. And so I stopped doing Muay Thai. And then, over the years, I'd still always had like an appreciation for martial arts. And then I found Jiu-Jitsu in 2016. And that's been an incredible journey for sure.
It's been interesting to me to watch so I did martial arts junior high through high school, and then when I went to college, I was so broke. I just like I don't have money for this. It just kind of stopped, and
Were
then
you doing
um,
Taekwondo or what were you doing?
I was doing karate. It was
Yeah.
I grew up in a really small town in Missouri, and so it was what was there. But it was a lot of fun, and for me, it was I like just my body awareness and proprioception and all that. It was great, and then which transferred over when I started doing CrossFit. Like I learned to snatch pretty fast compared to a lot of people because I just knew where my body was in space. And then recently I started doing jujitsu with
Mm.
TJ, who we both know. And so
Ah,
and it is so much fun, man. I'm loving it.
dude, it's the best. I mean, so karate as a kid and Taekwondo, very popular, very, very popular. And I think that they teach a lot of discipline. I think they teach a lot of, like you said, connecting your brain with your body. As you get older, it's just different. It's not better or worse. It's just different. I just find that jujitsu is just such a beautiful art. It's something I believe I could do for the rest of my life. I don't know if I could do head kicks in Taekwondo until I'm 80, but I can, I think, grapple until very late, in my life. But as you mentioned, if you're not exploring, if you're a hardcore CrossFitter and you're listening to this and you're not exploring other things, I think you're missing out on the the rewards you get when you see how your fitness in the gym translates outside the gym for sure.
Oh yeah, 100%. I'm really, really close to getting my second stripe on my white belt. Um,
Ah,
and so once you get that, it is like I can move into more the like intermediate classes and all that. Honestly, right now, the only things holding me back is the fundies times bump into when I'm coaching a lot of the time. And so it's like I just can't quite make it as often as I want to. Um, but shoot, what were we talking about there? Um, but no, but oh, sorry, you're talking about like using your fitness and like in these fundamentals classes, it's people who are newer to it. And
right.
I'm not like the tallest, biggest guy in there, but like my strength to weight ratio is really good compared to these other guys going through. And not that I'm muscling through, but it's like I don't get pushed around that easy, which
Yeah.
is fun. So,
Yeah, it's a blessing and a curse to be strong in jiu-jitsu because on the one hand, you'll hear people always say, "Oh, you're so strong." It's like, well, okay, well, if you were super strong, you'd use it to your advantage. And if you were that good, you'd be able to negate my strength. Like if you're that good. But on the other hand, if you are strong and fit and you need to be able to recognize you shouldn't just use that all the time. You should be developing the techniques because you can get away with some stuff doesn't mean you should be doing it. And I think that if you're coming from CrossFit, like start off with some intros, start off with some privates, really try and understand this because for a lot of people that come from a different fitness background, as soon as someone puts their hands on you, it really has a tendency to freak people out. And you gotta just like kind of relax. Otherwise, you're not gonna be a great training partner. So that's my advice to anybody who's like a hardcore CrossFitter getting into it because it is so foreign. And what you're gonna find, man, is you might be like the big dog at your gym and you might set PRs, you might be the big, lifter. All of a sudden, you get in jujitsu, and you're gonna have, uh, uh, a woman who's been training for years tap you and it's going to throw you
mm,
off. You're going to be like, what? Or a guy who's significantly smaller than you, but's been training for a little bit and just use it as inspiration. Don't get wrapped up in the ego.
yeah, no, I love focusing on the technique. That's what's been really fun. It actually reminds me when I got into CrossFit, I fell in love with the barbell right away and like just learning how to manipulate it to my advantage and like jujitsu 10 years later, it's like this is the closest thing I found to like hit that, like matching that dopamine hit of like, oh, when I do this or when I rap like this. So it's been fun. I love
Yeah, dude,
focusing
you're
on the
you're
technique.
spot on with the dopamine hit in terms of like getting a great workout, learn something new, and have fun is like my goal of every class that I coach, like at the gym. But what's interesting is that after a while, if you've been doing CrossFit for a decade, 2 decades, whatever it is, the hit of learning something new becomes harder and harder to get. Like you might
Mhm.
get a little bit better, but chances are you probably already heard that cue, you've already developed that. All of a sudden, when you get out of the gym and you get on the mats, you start unlocking parts of your brain that you didn't think were possible. And that learns something new. Like the first time you learn to snatch, the first time you learn to muscle up, the first time you learn to handstand push up. Imagine if you were able to unlock that almost every single day. Because in jiu-jitsu, even if you know a move, let's just say it's a, I don't know, Americana or whatever, which is like a long story. Let's just say you knew an arm bar. Let's just say an arm bar, right? People have seen that in the UFC, or even a rear naked choke. Name it in the UFC that you see. Take that simple example, and there's like 40 different versions of it. And then with those 40 different versions, there's 40 different entries to get into those 40 different versions. It's just endless. And then you have to set it up.
Yeah. Well, and then it's fighting back against you. Let's like you're setting it up, but then they're also setting up against you.
Yeah.
That was the talking to people. There's a guy in my gym who he's a blue belt, and I go into the same place he is, and he's like, the barbell's finally fighting back against you. And I was like, that is yes, like 100%.
Well, and that's one of the reasons why I like jiu-jitsu too. I mean, so I love hitting hard workouts. Like right before we got on recording, I went on our Train Hard app. I pulled up our force workout and I just hit it hard. And it was a 15-minute AMRAP. It was just perfect. It was great. It was great for what I wanted today. But I'm so proficient at many of these movements that my brain can still get away from me sometimes in those moments. Whereas earlier on, especially, I mean, maybe if you're doing like an open workout or something, it's hard for your brain to disconnect. You're just so engaged on what you're doing. But in general, I've become so competent at these movements, I can just kind of flow. Whereas in jiu-jitsu, you can't really flow because there is an opponent coming back at you and it requires your full attention. So when you think about like AMRAPing and being present and focused, there's no better way I could think of than like cold plunge is a really good example, but also jiu-jitsu. And when you're in there, it allows you to disconnect from these other things you have going on. And therefore you show up better at these other areas that you have in your life because you're able to disconnect from them.
Yeah. What's your balance? So are you doing like train hard CrossFit? Like what's your balance throughout the week? How many days are you doing jiu-jitsu? How many days are you training like traditional CrossFit or anything else?
Yeah. So over the years, I mean, obviously we've evolved. I opened up NorCal CrossFit in 2008. We then grew that business. We went from one location, 2 to 3 to 30 with corporate wellness and different things. Since then, it's evolved, right? So now we own and operate brick and mortar locations in the Bay Area. COVID definitely changed our landscape. And we're still offering what I believe to be the highest tier CrossFit classes there. And so I'll go there and I'll hit a class, pretty often. But I also recognize that like my needs and desires have changed and I want to be able to protect and provide for my family. Those are like really important to me. And when I think about what that means, it means that I want to be able to run, jump, climb, lift, because that's a huge piece of protection. Yeah, jiu-jitsu and firearms and all that kind of stuff is other factors. But for me, it's like at a baseline, I got to be able to run, jump, climb, lift. And so that is a framework that we built the Train Hard app off of, which is really designed for people who couldn't come into our gyms. And then we talk about this idea of providing. And I think that for me, when I think about provide, it's really talking about never allowing fitness to inhibit what I want to do with my kids. Like if they come home like, bro, let's go do this, let's go do that. They probably wouldn't say bro, but dad, let's go do this, go do that. I want to be able to say, yes, no problem, and never have fitness inhibit it. And that's what we mean by providing. And so when I think about protect and provide, I think about 3 different programs that we have. We have one to act the part, one to look the part, and one to never get to zero. And so what I do during the week is I flow through those. So our act the part program is just like solid strength conditioning. We don't really snatch. We don't handstand push up. We don't muscle up. It's just like a really good strength conditioning program. So I'll do that like 3-4 days a week. Then I'll add in like 1 or 2 flex workouts, which are kind of like bodybuilding. Mm-hmm. And then I'll add in jiu-jitsu 3 days a week. So that's kind of the way I'm flowing right now, is about every day I train. Some days I train twice a day if I'm doing our train hard workout and I'm doing jiu-jitsu.
Cool. That's I use that a lot to like the not hitting zero. Where my gym is, it's more suburb area of Denver. And so we just it's an older clientele than downtown Denver. And so I have a lot of members who have kids and they come in and I'm like, hey, like my goal is to 1 hour, we're going to get you properly warmed up. You're going to get a good workout. You're going to learn something. You're going to get cooled down. And you're going to be able to still play with your kids or go hiking or go skiing or whatever. Like, I don't want you to be too tired to go skiing. I want your legs to be ready to go skiing is how I like to approach it.
Dude, 100%. I mean, fitness should enhance your life, not take away from it. And there was a time in my life where fitness was my life, meaning that I was training for the CrossFit Games and I would wreck my body and I would train hours a day and I'd be sore and whatever. But dude, that was part of what I signed up for and it was all good. But now
Mm.
what I sign up for is I'm signing up for life and I'm signing up to be as a dad. And like the other day I did a workout with a ton of pull-ups and I kipped them. I don't normally kip as much anymore. In particular, I don't butterfly really at all anymore. I do a little bit of a gymnastics kip and I do strict. But I was like, I kind of got my ego in the way and I did like, I don't know, 200 butterfly pull-ups. I
Oh,
ended up ripping
dang.
my hands, right?
Yeah.
And my biceps were so sore. I was having a hard time extending my arms. I know you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
And dude, my son's like, "Hey, let's go throw the football." And here I am trying to throw a football with messed up hands and can't extend my arms. I'm like, "What am I doing?" Like this is not leading towards where I want to go with my fitness journey. My fitness journey should enhance my life, not become my life anymore. And there was a time where it was that, but now it's not that.
Yeah. When did that switch click for you? Like, was it natural? Did it take a while? Or like, were your kids a certain age or how did that happen?
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of the full gamut, right? I mean, in 2016, my daughter was diagnosed with leukemia. At that point, she's doing better with leukemia now. She has some other things going on, but her leukemia is fine. And so in 2016, when she got diagnosed, I retired from the sport of CrossFit, which obviously changed my training protocols. And we spent months and months in the hospital. So that is where it kind of like started to stem like, hey, what am I really trying to do here? And what I'm really trying to do is I want to protect, provide, but bring positive energy and use fitness as a catalyst to like improve my life. So I'd say it started in 2016 and then it's just been evolving ever since. And now that my kids are older, I'm even more in tune with it because my son is at an age where he could ask me to go do things and I want to be able to show up.
Hmm. Yeah. That's, yeah. Like I said, I don't have kids or anything, but it's like I don't want to, I was never like the competitive, like making regionals or anything like that. But I liked training that way. Like that's what my friends were doing. So I wanted to work out with them. And then I was like, I'm literally just sitting on the couch every Sunday, like to like and I was like, I don't want to, I want to go, I live in Colorado. I want to go hike. I want to go ski. And like, I just want to sit here and watch football all day. I want to
Yeah.
do something.
And it's
So,
ebbs and flows, man. If there's people that are fired up on CrossFit in the open, hell yeah, go for it.
oh
But you
yeah.
just got to figure out what that stands for you. Like I did, 24.1 was just announced a little bit ago, and I did it. And could I maybe get a little bit faster time if I did it again on that style workout? Probably. But it's not a priority in my life right now. It's something I want to do to enhance my day and to talk crap to my friends, but not
Mhm.
enough that I want to go dedicate multiple days to it. But there's people who are out there who that is something they want to dedicate themselves to. And I'm not here to say that's right or wrong. You just got to make your own decisions over time and recognize if you are a CrossFit Games competitor today, like it's going to change. You're going to have
Mhm.
a family. You're going to have kids and shit's going to change. That's it.
Yeah. Can I ask how you did on it? Because I did it as well.
Ah, man, I think you probably got me. I
I don't,
I think you got I got 808.
see, I was 1106.
Oh, then I
It,
smoked you. All right.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was one of those going into it. It was for people who don't, it was burpees, or burpees over a dumbbell and dumbbell snatches. And from some stuff earlier in the week, my low back wasn't feeling 100%, but we do a big Friday night lights every Friday. Like we had a big influx of new members over the past year. And I was like, okay, like I need to show up and do this. I'm like, I can do this. I could wait until Monday and be better, but I was like, I'm not making like it's fine. And so but yeah, it was one of those like I really thought about doing it again. I'm like, no, like that's defeating, like you want to work out every day, that's gonna hinder that.
Right.
Um but this
Oh,
workout
excuse
was
me.
I was talking to people, it's like how if you were willing to go to a dark place, you were gonna get a better score on it. And I'm just
For
not as
sure.
willing to go to that dark place.
Yeah, well, that's exactly right. I mean, I did it with a buddy of mine, and we hit it hard. I mean, it was great, but it just wasn't. Um, it's just different goals, you know. Like again, I had to really reflect and understand, like, what is my why? What's my long-term vision of like fitness, and what relationship I want to have with it, and where do I want to go? Well, dude, if I want to be super jacked when I'm 80, 90, I need to start making sure that I'm like in the right mindset for where I want to go. And I always want to be the most capable person I could be. And training with balance, I think, is the key. Like, dude, I still hit it hella hard. Like, I train hard every day, but I don't train as hard as I used to train. Like I'm not blacking out on workouts and passing out. That's just not where I'm at now.
Yeah. And so like with training and all that, and obviously like owning the business, family, all that kind of stuff, how, um, what's your, like, are you wake up, work out first thing in the morning, or do you build it into the middle of your day, or what does that look like for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's like 11 o'clock here on the West Coast. And typically, what I do typically is I hit this is what I've been doing lately. I don't know if I'm like super excited about it, but this is what I've been doing for the last couple weeks is I do sauna and cold plunge in the morning with some
Mhm.
cardio. And then I train midday, either jiu-jitsu, our workouts in the garage or at the gym. And then in the evening, I'll play with Kate and we'll go do something physical. That's typically what I've been doing for a while now. But hitting the sauna and the cold plunge in the morning, it's fine. It's just I'd rather hit the sauna at night if I could. But that's just what I've been doing lately to kind of level set and get ready for the day.
Yeah. So with NC Fit and everything else, like what is your title with NC Fit? Like what do you call yourself?
A founder owner. Yeah.
Found
So
like found yeah.
yeah, founder owner. So, with that, we have the brick and mortar gyms here in the Bay Area. We have the NC Fit Collective, which is session plans and programming for gym owners. And that's
Mhm.
a really, awesome product that we have to service gym owners and coaches. So that's really what builds up NC Fit. And then on the Train Hard side, I'm also owner, founder over there. And that is again three different programs, online application that's really designed for people like in their garage, in a gym without a coach is the key.
Yeah. And then so like with Train Hard, are you Jason like writing workouts? Do you have a team that you're working with on that, or what does that look like?
Yeah, so I mean, we have so all review of them. Like, so we have it's kind of I guess rudimentary, but we have a solid Google Doc that all of us look at. So for NC Fit,
Yep.
it's different, right? So NC Fit, I don't know if anybody does it the way we do it there. We use our coaches, and what we do is we have one guy who creates the overall program. Then from there, it goes into like a group of like multiple people that review it. From there, it then gets sent out to like five or six coaches that every workout is tested after it's tested, feedback is given, then those coaches write the session plan. So they test the workout, then they write a session plan, then they basically put it into a doc for the gym side of the house. Like that's over here. For the other side of the house, we have a few authors on the programs, and I just oversee the programs, and then obviously I test them out. I follow our programs all the time.
Cool. And then so you're kind of more of like a support role, like empowering your coaches. That's the role you're taking there.
Yeah, I mean it's evolved, right? Like I'm not in the trenches as much as I used to. It's more like 2008, 9, 10. But I mean, here we're coming up on what is that? 16 years in business. So it's evolved from, you're working in the business to now it's like more on the business. Like I do more strategy, I do more communication. I think about the long-term vision. I set that for the team, and my job is really to support the team as best as possible and then also to identify who that team should be and what
Mhm.
role they should be playing. And that's just evolved over the years as an entrepreneur.
Yeah. No, that's where like that's where I'm at as well. Like especially through COVID, like it took me coaching more hours to like make sure that the gym was going to survive and all that. And I'm fine. Like now we're at like I'm going to be able to bring on a full-time coach here soon, and all that. And it's like cool. What you said is exactly how I describe it: focusing on the business, not in the or working on the business. I'm sorry, not in the business.
Yeah.
It just opens up so much more time.
Well, no
So,
matter who you are, it doesn't matter who you are. If you own a business and you're looking at the time that you allocate and you could identify someone that could do it better and pay them, like your time is valuable. And so if you're coaching all the classes, it's difficult for you to do anything else for the business. So who's going to be the person answering emails, growing the business if you're coaching, 30 classes a week? So if you could hire somebody who's great at that and then free you up to go do other things, that's the key.
yeah. So, cool. I had some other questions on here. I was
Let's
gonna,
do it.
yeah. Oh, so I was kind of talking about like your roles and responsibilities, like with NC Fit. Um, is like NC Fit and like the career you have now, is that the career you thought you were gonna have as a kid? Like, I guess where I was coming from is when I was a kid, if you asked me what I wanted to be when I grow up and what I'm doing now, nothing alike.
Mm.
And did you know you wanted to work in the fitness space or?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I knew at probably when I was 16, I knew that I was going to own a gym. Like I knew I was going to be in the fitness space when I was really young because that's where I came up. I came up working the front desk and then I enjoyed the environment. And then I learned all about sales. And so, yeah, at a really early age, I knew I was going to be in the fitness space. Did I know that it would kind of transform the way it has? And we've expanded into digital and all that kind of stuff. I mean, back then it wasn't even a thing, right? I mean, and if
Yeah.
I knew what I knew now, there's so many things I would do different. But that's the way business works. You make the best decision you can with the information you have. And it's like you move forward. You can't make regrets because one of the things I like to think about with business and in life in general is like, if you're clear minded, if you're not a jerk, if you're like really thinking about every decision you make and you make the wrong decision, like you'd probably make it again because you made the best decision you could with the information you had. Now, is there people that regret decisions? Of course. But like when it comes to business, if you really took the time to think about something, you did it, maybe it worked out, maybe it didn't. But at the time, you thought it was going to be the best decision for everybody involved.
Yeah. That was honestly the last couple of years. I'm sure owning a gym through COVID, it was like
Same. Yeah.
it was a test of your decision making skills. And it was one of those I talked with. For me, I would talk with my coaches, or my parents were small business owners as well in a different field, but I would just like bounce things off of them. And eventually my dad's like, like I feel like whenever you come to me, 95% of the time, like what you are thinking about doing, it's probably what I would like, just trust your gut and just go with it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's,
it's hard as an entrepreneur, right? And you want to bat ideas off people, but ultimately you're the decision maker. And during COVID, it was just that was a tough time. But one thing I've been thinking about a lot lately, actually, is the idea that any any problem that can be solved, any problem that can be solved by money, isn't a real problem. A buddy of mine said it to me the other day, and it resonated with me because like during COVID, I thought like the sky was falling down. Our gyms were shut down for months and years. Like, dude, one of them was shut down for 13 months, and rent
dang.
there was, I don't even want to tell you how much rent was. Um, but like now, in hindsight, now that we're out of that, it's a good reminder that like life's gonna come and it's gonna hit you hard. But if it's a money problem, like there's probably a way to solve it. When it's not a money problem, there's other problems going on. It's that's a whole different ball game.
Yeah. Knowing what you know now, because you're NC or NorCal CrossFit now, NC Fit. Is it both? Do you go by both?
Well, so NC Fit is like NorCal Fit, but like the actual affiliate. So we have a CrossFit affiliate underneath two different names, but yeah. But the
Okay.
the name of the company is NC Fit.
Yeah. Did like, because it's 16 years collectively that you've been doing this. If you were to start something now, are there aspects of your business that you would totally change or do away with?
Um, I mean, like where we're at today, no. Where we have been at, yes. That's why we had to make such big pivots. But you don't know until you try. You go out there
Mhm.
and you try a corporate wellness account that is small and it takes up a lot of bandwidth, but at the time it may have had potential. Or you try, online programs where it's follow along and you think it would impact people, but it doesn't. Like we've tried so many different things because we thought at the time it was gonna help others and also provide for our coaches and our staff. And it just ended up not working out that way. I think that right now, I think we're in a really good spot because we've learned and we've evolved and I'd hope so after 16 years.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're not making moves. So, yeah, no, I had that. So the affiliate that I own, I'm actually the second owner of it. A
Mm,
buddy of mine started it really good. I was coaching for him and he got offered a really good opportunity. He just didn't want to own it remotely. And I ended up taking over. And there's just like aspects of it. Like once you're in, it's like, oh, like he did a really good job of building it. But I was like, I wouldn't have done it this way. But now like that system is pretty ingrained to where like it's going to take a massive shift away from that and maybe piss
yeah.
some people off.
And
Um,
COVID was a good way to get away with that. Like, so I'll give you an example. Like we didn't do class registration for years. And we also didn't
yes.
do what else did we not do? Oh, we added in 10-minute. So two things. We coming out of COVID, we're like, hey, look, we need to create class caps because at the time we just let anybody in. And people were super cool about us adding in a class cap out of COVID, and we just kept it. Or 10-minute gaps in between our classes, we just kept it. So COVID kind of gave us an opportunity to level set, which is I imagine like one of the things you're thinking about, or leveling everybody to the same price. COVID was a good way for us to kind of, okay, that was the past. Let's move forward this way.
Yeah, no, the caps and the signups, that was a big thing for the
Yeah.
signups was a big thing for me of and just for my coaches, and that's how I explain it to new people coming in is like, especially if someone's coming in, it's like, and they're recovering from a shoulder surgery, and it's like, hey, my coaches can actually like prepare for you before you even walk in the door if they know that you're going to be in their class. Like instead of pull-ups, they already know what we're going to have you do instead,
Right.
and so it's really helpful.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more work for them, which for some of the people who've been there for 14 years was annoying, but in the long run, it's just better for the product overall that we're delivering.
Yeah, I think so too. For sure. For sure. And yes, we set class capacity. And I think it's been game changer for us.
Yeah. Um, cool. What, and so now obviously like doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, do you have any like desires to go back to like competing within CrossFit?
No, no,
I
no,
didn't think
no.
so.
That
I had
ship
to ask.
that ship sailed. I've competed in jiu-jitsu maybe 4 or 5 times. I plan to compete at tactical games, which is like firearms and fitness.
Mhm.
Um, but no, I have no desire to compete at the CrossFit. It's just when you dedicate your life to something like that and then you get away from it, it's very difficult to go back because you're preconceived like where you think you want to be. It's going to take a lifetime more of work to get back to where I was, and I'm just not prepared to give those sacrifices.
Yeah. What's the tactical games? Like, are you trying to compete this year or in the future? Or
I wanted to compete this year, but then I had some family stuff come up, so I couldn't attend. But I do plan to attend this year tactical games, which is dude, is badass. I mean, it's like you shoot 10 rounds, do 100 burpees, 10 rounds for time, or whatever it is. It's CrossFit and shooting combined.
yeah. What do you, because there's been a lot of CrossFit, like former, like bigger names that were back in the day that have transitioned over to that. What do you think is that draw there?
I think it's the accuracy component. I think that it's taking something which is fitness, and then adding in something you don't know, which is firearms. And it is so hard. It's so hard, which is why I think it's super appealing for people because you really have to understand the mechanics. You have to understand like these fine motor patterns, especially when tired. And, it takes a lot of dedication to be really excellent at it. And so that's why I think it's been rewarding.
Yeah. Do you ever think they'll have like, so with the CrossFit games now, they're separating out individuals and masters and adaptive and teens, like they're their own weekends now. Do you think
Right.
there'll ever be a tactical division of like like a CrossFit branded tactical games?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, the Rogue Invitational years ago did like they did like a biathlon where you had to shoot. I could see something like that coming up at the CrossFit Games, but I don't see them using live firearms. I think that's just it just kind of takes it to a whole different level. I think like biathlon with like an air gun, I think is a little bit different than using a traditional firearm.
That one was fun to watch. I
Yeah,
remember
that
I
was cool.
watched that one from home. And then, so actually, I met you like super, super briefly at the 2022 Rogue Invitational. I was working the Bubs booth
Ah,
there. And I loved it because it was, Rogue has like a old school regionals feel
yeah.
of like just the size. And like, I loved it because like I'm in there at the booth, competition is going on. And then like you and a lot of the other, like the legends, it was while the events were going on, you guys would like walk around the vendor village. I'm like, these are all the people I've like been following for years. This is awesome.
Yeah,
So
man, that's a great event, and I mean they're moving to Scotland this year, which is kind of is different.
mm,
But I hope it goes amazingly well for them.
yeah, that one's always fun too because they get all the strongman components in there,
Oh
which you just
yeah,
don't see.
for sure.
Yeah. So do did you have that's kind of like the last on like the um CrossFit game side, but like was there a favorite event that you had? I'm sure you've answered this question multiple
Yeah, I mean,
times.
I think the Burden Run was probably my favorite event. I don't know if you remember that one, but that was a
Yeah.
cool event. It was just nice to be able to, you know, I knew I was going to win before I won, and I just visualized it, and so it was great. I mean, that was probably my favorite.
I remember, yeah, like the pig implement
Yeah,
coming out, and like that was
yeah,
cool. So, um, cool. And then I remember because like just following all that stuff beforehand, like as somebody, I just want to say this as somebody with chest hair, I appreciated the fact that you were out there also competing with chest hair, and everybody else is
Oh,
shaved. Like,
All right, all right. Yeah, no, I still got it going. I still got to rock it now. So yeah, we're all
hmm.
good.
I feel like it's more normal now, but for a while it was just you and Ben Smith.
Yeah.
So
Oh, dude, Ben Smith. I love that guy. He's strong as
yeah,
hell.
yeah, yeah. That was kind of I started my CrossFit journey like early 2013. So like
Oh, yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
that was kind of like right whenever he was coming up. So or not coming up, but like the heyday of like you guys, Spieler, obviously Froning and all that. So it was
Yeah, he
fun.
was very dominant.
hmm So um, on that note, who has bigger biceps, you or Dan Bailey?
Oh, I think me. Yeah, I think me. Dan Billy's
With
got
Dan,
some big biceps, but I think mine. I think mine are bigger. I think so. We'll have to next time I see him in person, we'll have to measure it out.
yeah. I just wanted to ask that. I wanted to ask that for a long time. Um, cool. Jason, I don't have a whole lot else. Like this was I wanted to talk business. I wanted to talk BJJ and just training methodologies. And um, we've covered a lot of that.
Very
So
good. Yeah,
yeah,
man. I mean, if people want more information, they can just go check it out on Instagram, Jason Khalipa. They can also check out the Train Hard app. And yeah, anything we could support, just hit us up.
cool. And if they're in the Bay Area, hit up NC
Oh yeah,
Fit.
go to an NC Fit. Hell yeah.
Awesome. Well, cool. Jason, thank you so much for the time and for coming by and letting me pick your brain and for joining the cult of recreationalism.
There you go.
Thanks, man.